And here we are. We are live. Now, can you see the comments?
I cannot.
There is somehow that you can see the comments as they come through. What are you on, a laptop?
I'm on my laptop, but yours just came through where it says say hello, but that's all I can see.
You can see the comments. Beautiful. Wow. I'm beyond excited to have you back in the seat tonight, Miss Nettie New. So, yeah, say hello if you're joining us. And some of you.
Hi, Mila.
Hey, you'll be knowing some people. Maybe you'll see some faces pop up that you recall. Here's the Kels Bells.
Yeah, Priscilla from South Africa. I've always wanted a South African accent, always, since I was a little girl.
Yes, yeah, they're nice. Yeah, I like the way they speak. Actually, out of all accents that I like, I would agree with you there. I think they have.
Hi, Zena. Hi, everyone. It's so good to be back.
Kels
New
Bells.
York. Oh, my God. Kels is from, I'm assuming, NY's New York. New Zealand. Teresa. Hi, Belinda. Hi, everyone.
Woohoo. So we are rocking it tonight. I'm just going to have to ring my chimes just for that. 3:30 a.m.
Kels, you don't need to sleep. You don't need to sleep.
Yes. Kels Bells. Yeah, I'll give you another ring for that. Awesome. So how are we all traveling? Let's know how you're traveling, how you're feeling. You're feeling all, like drained because you've been running around getting ready, ticking off the list and putting out the tinsel and hanging the Christmas lights, or you're just taking it in your stride, cool, calm and collected. What's happening in your world? Or what else might be happening? You might be feeling really excited because you've got family coming, or you might be feeling really lonely because somebody you'd like to be with is not going to be with you over Christmas. Good on you, Kels, in your stride. Let's know, how are you all faring? We like to have a bit of conversation so that we can get ourselves in attunement and in alignment with our session tonight. So I would like to welcome, for those of you who have not met Nettie, Janette Mharee is here tonight. We haven't got our names up, but we've got Tiffany's. We're hoping Tiffie will join us, but she's got young children, so sometimes that can be a bit random. And I think she's got family around too.
Oh, she doesn't have a link, Kay. You've left her out. Oh, my Lord.
Tiffie.
Just to add on to what Kay was saying before, guys, as well, sometimes you've got family members that you're meeting up with at Christmas that you're not looking forward to. So that's something to take into the equation, and just to let you all know that we see you, because Christmas isn't a great time for everybody. It's great for some love it, some love putting up the trees, some dread it for different reasons. And one of those reasons is it can be, like Kay said, because our loved ones aren't with us. So that's what we thought we would touch on that tonight.
Yes, so tell us, and somebody did mention, I'm giving you stars. I hope you can see your stars. I don't know what stars do, but it's a way of giving a bit of good juju back to you people. So that's right. My TF, probably BF, left me last Christmas night, sadly, but I'm okay. Good on you, Kels Bells. Sometimes you might be having that, well, hey, whoever I was with last year, I'm so glad that they're not around because I've dealt with that. So have you got things to deal with before the year ends? We've got Belinda who's having a quiet Christmas and asking about losing weight. We'll get back into that kind of thing a bit later on. To be honest, actually, I'm going to address that now because I think, a few months ago I decided I wanted to lose some weight. And I know Nettie's in the same position. Here's Miss Tiffie too.
Hey,
and
Tiff.
Hello, how are you? So long.
Shared liked. Hello, sweet souls. Please messages from my loved ones who are not here for Christmas with me, please. Carolyn Thomas is asking for messages. I'm not sure whether we're talking messages tonight. I don't know whether Nettie wants to go there or not. What we want to do tonight really is probably just have more conversations. What can we do if our loved ones aren't with us, and if our heart is aching and wishing, your family members are going to be around. This will be my first Christmas that my dad has passed, and look out, I'll tear up any minute. And that's okay too. But what would you do, Nettie? I'm going to hand it over to you because I'll have my say as well. And welcome, Tiffie. Sorry, we're in the middle of the conversation.
Hi, sorry, I'm late. It's so Tiffie.
That's so cool. First of all, I think that it's very important to acknowledge your feelings. Like Kay, you just said, I'm going to tear up. Most people will shut that down. They'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. First lesson, stop shoving your emotions down. If you are missing someone, if you are grieving someone, if you've had a breakup and Christmas is a really rough time, it's okay to own that. It's okay to not pretend to be okay, because we're taught to pretend to be okay when we're really not. And if you invite somebody into your home who is grieving, don't ask them to not grieve because you don't want them to dampen your day. Let them be in their grief. Acknowledge that. And in what I do with my loved ones, and I've lost so many, as those of you who know me, my son-in-law passed very suddenly. My grandchildren's dad, very young, 37 years old, boom, gone. Excuse me. And so what we do is at Christmas time and other celebrations, we actually invite them in. We talk about them. We name them. We don't pretend they didn't exist. We don't pretend that the grief isn't there. We have a cry. We have a laugh. We talk about the funny things that my son-in-law used to be, the arsehole things he used to do, all of it, because they are still part of your life. When somebody passes, they don't just cease to exist. And that's what we need to remember. So we do all the things. We light the candle, we invite them in to celebrate with us, and we remember the good times and the not so good times, because not everybody has good times. So it's really important to just be in your moment, whatever that looks like for you, and not shove it down, not shove it down with alcohol, with food, with drugs, with pretending that you're okay when you're not. We have to stop doing that. And as women, and I can only speak for women because I am one, I cannot speak for men, but as women, we need to pull each other back up, not claw each other down.
Absolutely. I love this. Rhonda's chimed in, and thank you. Give us your suggestions. We love to interact with you. Rhonda, we tell stories and share the memories. It helps to do that. Absolutely. And I also know that, particularly if you've got a family with children, and, you need to be talking to your children about those who are passed or whatever. So I'll be talking to my children about my grandfather this Christmas because they knew him, and, not that we always had Christmas with my father anyway, but he was still around and he'd send the kids presents. So we will be having some, a little bit of memory and conversation around him to also help the children to adjust and normalise, that the death is part of life and it's part of the cycle that we all have to go through.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carolyn, for your positive feedback there. And also Belinda said there's no time limit on grief. Now, that is absolutely correct. So I think the only thing that usually, if you're working on yourself, does happen over time is you become stronger. And I always like to just embody the energy of anyone who's passed with me. Someone's passed, I like to just imagine when my mum passed, she was around me. When my dad passed, he was around me. And they still come and go. But it's not as if I have to hold on tight, because I believe we've got to let the energy of those who've passed go as well, because they don't need to be stuck here dealing with things we're dealing with. Yeah, they can be here to give you advice or be around you, give you comfort, those kind of things. But we don't have to hold on to people. I
think the biggest story that we're told when somebody passes is, A, there is a time limit on grief. There absolutely is not. You should not be rushed through grief. You should not have any expectations on yourself or others. And, you know, we forget that grief is part of life. It is normal to grieve people. I would be worried about people that didn't grieve, even people you didn't get on with. Like my mother and I never had a relationship ever, but I still grieved when she passed because she was my mum. So, you know, it's very normal to grieve, and sometimes people don't understand why they're grieving. I don't know why I'm upset. I didn't even like my, you know, mum, my dad, my ex, my whatever. But it's a normal human emotion, and we've been taught that something's wrong with us all the time, that we always need to fix something when we don't. We just need to allow our emotion to ride with us.
Absolutely. Now, I was going to reach for acceptance, that because I always love to think about, now, what oils would I be using if I was going through this situation? What would help me stabilize and, you know, anchor things in? So, of course, the first one for me would be Valor. What would you use, Tiffy? What would you
Valor
use?
would be my first go-to for anything, actually.
Absolutely. Tiffy's kids want to come and join in, do they?
Sorry, what was that?
You've got little visitors popping in?
I do. I have a very upset little man. I might just need to run off just for another second. I'm so sorry.
Family comes first, Tiff.
Absolutely,
Always.
that is right. Thank you so much.
Fine.
I'll be back.
No, okay. So the first thing about grief, or about, and to me, it's not even necessarily about people not being with you. What about, you know, the idea of, you know, this is how, I've got 4 daughters, right? So Christmas, every daughter has a different interpretation of what they want for Christmas. And as time goes on, you know, that changes and whatever. But I've always had this attitude that I've never tried to make my children feel that they have to come home for Christmas. Like, I love it. I love them coming home. I've never not welcomed them, but I've never wanted to guilt trip them if they want to be somewhere else, because they've all got partners now, and you actually can't cut yourself in half and be in two places at once. So, you know, has anyone got, or what if you've got a situation where you're going to have to spend time with people at the Christmas table or on Christmas Day with people you don't actually want to be with? So what would you do about that? And has anyone got those kind of feelings?
I've actually had that before, where I've been around people that I haven't wanted to be. And that was in my olden days when I used to force myself to do things. Now I just wouldn't go. It's that simple. I wouldn't care who I upset, because my life is about me. And that's something, now that I'm older, I've learned. I don't care if I offend people. I don't care, because if they have made my days miserable, I'm not going to invalidate myself and go and allow that to continue. So I'm a little bit different from other people, but something I did want to say, because also too, when you've got small children, it's so different. My children and grandchildren are all grown up now. So, but when you've got small children, it's that bit harder. If you've got a mother or father-in-law that isn't very nice, but you need to go for your partner, etc., that makes it a bit more difficult. But I just think setting boundaries and making them clear and not accepting any bullshit in your life is the biggest key. It really is. And sadly, we've been taught, I know all the years, I always wanted that storybook Christmas, you know, on the Hallmark movies where, you know, someone goes to a new town and they fall in love and they have the snow and they have the beautiful families and everybody gets along. I don't know that I know anybody that all gets along because reality, you know, and then we start thinking something's wrong with us because we're not living that, when nothing's wrong with us. It's life.
So to me, that's where gratitude comes in. We just be grateful for what we do have, and what we don't have or what's not resonating, just let it go. Yeah. So that's when I'd be grabbing back to some oils. I'd be grabbing my stress away. So if you want a little bit of support and help, find something that's going to uplift you. So for me, I would be dousing myself in Stress Away. Now, another one that I would be using as well, if I felt that there was going to be aggression in the arena and I wasn't, feeling comfortable around that. No one really enjoys aggression. So I would be using white angelica, because this is the oil that's going to help you feel protected and cocooned. And, I love just the name of it, the white angelica. So you just feel embodied and cocooned with the angels. So this one is a beautiful oil for when you need to feel really protected.
And Kay, what's a great oil? Like if you're in a situation, like you're at a family function, you things aren't going to plan. Your partner might be drinking too much because he's not coping or she's not coping with what's going on, and you're starting to feel overwhelmed. What's a good oil just to keep in your pocket, or that you can race to the loo, sit on the toilet, put some in your hands, rub, and just bring that back into your being within you so that you're able to deal with the day? Do you have anything like that?
Yes, for those anxious moments. Bergamot is a beautiful oil. It's one of the citrus oils that's going to be uplifting. Valor, I take my Valor everywhere, but Valor for me, it means, for me, it stopped those triggers, those things that used to trigger me. They kind of just disappeared. Now, when I started using these oils, Valor was one. We were going through court cases, and I was quite a mess. I was talking about this the other night, and I was quite a mess and not feeling very comfortable, not feeling very confident, and I was really at my wit's end. So Valor was the oil that just helped me come back into a state where I could let it go. How do I get in? Janette Mharee wants to join. Let's send her a link.
All right, come on in, Janette Mharee.
So if you want to jump in, Janette Mharee, you are more than welcome. And there is the link. So you should be able to just click on that link and you can join us.
And while Janette Mharee is coming in, I think it's very important, again, to reiterate, is to stand in your own power, stand in your own truth. If you're feeling a certain way, don't hide from that. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're sitting there in grief and really not feeling as though you're coping, don't shut that down. That's what we're taught to do. I can't be upset on Christmas Day because I might upset somebody. Too bad, so sad. And I don't mean that in a callous way, but we have got to keep owning our own selves, because grief is not something you can shove down. It really, really isn't. And it shouldn't be shut down. It really shouldn't. And grief doesn't have to be about a death. It can be about, not having enough money for Christmas and feeling like because of the way it's portrayed now, that you've got to buy your children, $4 million worth of gifts, otherwise you're a bad parent. People worry about that stuff, and that can be a grief thing. Oh my God, work's been really hard. I didn't have enough money to buy, gifts for my kids. That's a real thing,
Absolutely. Now, Janette Mharee, we can see you jumped in, but we can't see you. But can you talk?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I've just got out of the shower. I look like shit.
I thought you said you wanted to join us. There you are, darling. You look beautiful. Gorgeous. I just jumped out of the shower too.
I'm in my jammies and all,
Yes.
Tell us about it. So what do you do, Janette Mharee? Because Christmas isn't always that exciting for you, is it?
Oh, okay. So, well, in the beginning, it was very hard. So what I did was I kind of got other people to come and we would organise, a very pared down Christmas, at least a lunch or something. And that kind of got me through the first couple of years. And then that didn't work, or it stopped happening. And so I think, for a year or so, I did grieve. It wasn't easy. And now I just pretend it doesn't exist. So I just treat it like every other day, because it is the reality. That's how it is. But the good news is next year it's going to all change because I'm moving to Yeppoon and I'm going to be near family, and my son looks like he might be coming home after 7 years. So I had 7 years of no Christmases. And, and the thing is that it's interesting because my son is also expressing, that how he finds Christmas quite difficult over there. And he said, Mum, he said, they always dump me just before Christmas. He's had girlfriends who he said, look, I'm going to be on my own for Christmas. And she said, oh, well, enjoy yourself, and left him. And I thought, how callous. People don't appreciate that when someone is on their own, that sometimes it's nice to be included. Sometimes it's more painful.
Yeah. So what I often did or often do is just invite all my friends who I know, particularly if it's a Christmas where all my kids aren't around.
Yes.
I will invite people who are on their own. So, sometimes it's up to those of us who are not in that isolated situation to open the door and say to people, come and join in and have lunch with us. And, even if they don't come, the fact that you've invited them.
Exactly. Yeah. And I tried that in the beginning, to sort of have like an orphan's Christmas. It just didn't quite work. But, so the moral of the story is that it is difficult. But then the other side of the coin is that, often Christmases are very traumatic because you get the family dynamics playing out, and that can be really hard. So sometimes it can be a blessing, to not have to be in an abusive or a highly dysfunctional Christmas. So it's about making it inside of you. Whatever it's whatever really works to give you a nice day.
Yes, I remember a few years ago when none of my kids were home, and I looked at all the good things. Oh, I don't have to stress. I don't have to do all that food, all the dishes. I don't have to worry about getting the beds ready and all that, chaos beforehand. And and then I could just enjoy my Christmas then, and did whatever I wanted. And I'm not that caught up in a routine or ritual, or everything has to be the same every year. I like change anyway, so that's kind of suits me. So
I think that there's just, it's kind of gone over the top, and in reality, we really want to be celebrating Christmas every day. And to me, what Christmas is about is family, and it's about connection. It's about people and love, and having that love, that joy around you. And just like my son never gives me a Christmas present because he's not here, but he will just pile all his presents up whenever he goes away traveling, and he knows I love earrings, so he buys me all these amazing earrings from all over the world. And then he arrives 2 years later, and here's a big pile of prezzies. So
wow, that's beautiful. And earrings would be a good thing to cart around too, nice and small.
That's why he does it.
So Zita's asking, ladies, what spiritual advice and oils could you recommend for spiritual interference? And then she's just maybe elaborated a bit more. Christmas is stressful for me, family dynamics, and it's exactly what we're talking about, split families. And that is the case with so many people. And no matter what you choose, there's always people disappointed in us. One side don't want to be around the other side. It's not even happy. They travel for the sake of my son so he can have happy memories at least. So, yay.
The other thing of like I remember Daniel would have to come to me for breakfast because, then they had to be at this person for lunch and then that person for dinner. And or they get to me, say, for dinner, and they were so stuffed that all the preparations were, and that in itself takes kind of a bit of the joy out of it.
Yes. So is it that, got two things that I want to talk about, so we'll come back to you, Zita, in a minute. Is that also us being realistic about expectations. To me, it's about the simple pleasures. They're here, even if they're drained and they're not, energetically we'd like them to be. There's that simple gratitude of the fact that they're just around.
Yeah.
So what about you, Tiff? How are you feeling? Because Tiff's going to have a house full.
I have the madness has begun, if you cannot tell. We've had family starting to fly in, and I actually really relate to what you've just said, because it's been many years since I've been able to see quite a few of these family members just due to coronavirus and whatnot. So we've all aged a little bit more than usual between visits, and so the dynamic is absolutely different. So, and it's actually been really nice, because quite often when my family does come to visit, we'll go to here and there, and we're running around to see all these sites and do all these things. And this time we just don't have the energy for it. So we haven't made any plans at all. And I don't know why we don't do it that way more often, because we don't need to be doing things. We just want to be having conversations and enjoying each other's company and stuff like that. And I think that we're going to do that more often. We don't need to be seeing the sights. We've seen them. I mean, that's nice too, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't make the holiday at all.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and that's what I was saying when we first started this conversation. Christmas is not meant to be about spending thousands of dollars that you don't have, putting yourself in debt. And we're all taught to do that. Oh, grab a credit card, put it on Afterpay, and we've lost the meaning. Christmas is meant to be about spending times with people that you like, not being forced to spend times with people that you don't, and you don't have to spend, $4,000 on each child, things have just, it's all got commercial, and that's where it's gone wrong. And again, we used to feel like we had to go and entertain people because they were coming to visit our town, and we don't need to do that. It's not about presents. It's about being present in the moment with the people that you love. And we've forgotten that. We really have. And I'm very blessed. I know I am, because my 2 daughters and 2 grandchildren, we all spend all our things together. I know how lucky I am. But I've also worked on that. I've always worked on improving myself as a parent, on not buying into the dynamics of having to, buy the kids big things. They came and spent time with me because they wanted to enjoy my company, and I love that. And, I think that we really have so much pressure on us today. So it's time to take the load off and get back to being you. If you don't want to go and spend time with your in-laws, why are you? And I say that. If you're working in a job you hate, why are you? And I'm really at that point in my life, so I do question people on that.
Yes, and I think
my motto is, does it add more?
Sorry, what was it, Marie?
My motto is, with anything, does it add more?
Yes.
Does it add more? If not, why?
Yeah.
I've just fired my house designer and I feel fabulous.
I hear you've had a big day. So back to you, Zita, and congratulations, because you knew it wasn't right, and you've spent money already, and you've kind of drawn the line. So that's wonderful. Zita, I would be thinking spiritual interference, probably frankincense, Palo Santo,
White Angelica.
Yeah,
Sage.
good on sage. Yes, any of those oils.
Do you know what comes to my mind? Bloody joy.
Joy. Yeah. But do you know what? In actual fact, it doesn't really matter what oil you use, because they're all going to do something to shift the energy that you are carrying.
Yep.
And my recommendation, how many here in this chat? We're having a great chat. This is great. It's a beautiful blend and mixture, and totally spontaneous. Thanks for jumping in, January, at the last minute. We had, and anyone else who wants to join, let us know. I'll send you the link.
And it doesn't matter what oil you use, it's the intention behind it. So,
yes.
Well, I mean, literally, you could use water. if you've got the intention that that water is going to cleanse you and clear you of all the negative energy, then that's what will happen. The oils are amazing because they have the smells that reach out to the different senses in the body. I don't use oils. I can't use them because I react to them. But I do love the smells of oils. My body just doesn't. But it's the intention, fully the intention behind what you're doing.
For me, intention, of course. But what does it for me is actually the aroma of it. That when I put it on, it makes me feel good. And if I feel good, I am having a better time, a better day. It shifts me from the perspective of it just comes and embraces me.
Yes, absolutely.
Dublin.
Yes, we have Zila from Dublin. And you always love being alone with your son and enjoy it that way. And good on you. So I think we've got to, create our own.
Yes, Jess.
Our own whatever we decide we want to make it. Like it's just like life. Life, we can be going through the toughest times in our life, and we've got to decide: are we going to stay in that gloopy, tough time, or are we going to find a way out? So I think and what are we going and look at options and look at our thoughts, look at what we can do.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Here's a good friend of mine. I believe I went to Teachers College with this lovely Kay. I believe we've all forgotten the real meaning of Christmas. It's a reflection on what you value in life. Absolutely. What is important. I had a Christmas on my own one year and realised the true essence. No complications, just a reflection of what is. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yes, absolutely. But like some people feel as though they don't have a choice and have to do. So that's what we're sort of targeting tonight. People that sort of have to go to the in-laws, or like a lot of families now are separated. So as Janette Mharee was saying, by the time you get the child, they've had a great day and they don't feel like interacting with you, or vice versa.
You're exhausted. They come in and you're spent.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. So
I was just going to say, I think it's important to understand that there will be dynamics on this day, no matter what.
Yeah.
That having those people around you are going to trigger, whether you like it or not. And so by having some strategies and techniques where you can quickly just like retreat, even if it's in your mind, going to the toilet and just debriefing and breathing through it and just putting yourself back into that space where you're not going to react, so that you can go back into the room with a genuine smile on your face. And the best thing that I can say is to learn the art of detachment. In other words, that when something is going down, you're being triggered, don't react. Just excuse yourself, nick off to the toilet and breathe through it, so that when you come back, you are more what I call emotionally neutral. And that's the key to going through these kinds of events, when there's people around you that you may not like, or that they're going to trigger you, because you're going into the event already anticipating that you're going to have a bad day. And if you're anticipating, you're going to, because you're creating it. And so you do some processes before you go, you slather yourself with oils, use my program, you do whatever it is that you've got to do, so that when you go in there, you're just more calm, more detached.
Absolutely.
Also, as you leave, do another debrief.
Yes.
Don't take it home with you.
So one of my recommendations is I always talk to my clients about coming up with a plan. If you know somebody's going to be there that you feel uncomfortable with for whatever reason, what's your plan going to be when you come across them? Because if you've already pre-programmed yourself or pre-put in how you're going to respond, that's going to be a lot easier than that. Oh, well, what am I going to do? So can anyone give us an example about that?
the mother-in-law. The mother-in-law who walks in full of judgment that no matter what you're doing, it's not good enough. That is one that you would need to really work out how can you remain detached and not allow her to throw you out.
Yes, there you go. Speaking from experience, I'd say, is it?
Yes, I had one.
And I might tell myself, well, instead of feeling this, I'm going to be detached, or I will be, instead of reacting, I'm going to respond. I'm going to increase my ability to, be loving and accepting. And if you walk into the situation with that mindset, it's like, if you're going gardening, you take your tools to go out in the garden. So if you're socializing and it's going to be awkward, you've got those things like, have that mindset, have that oil, have that, or have a conversation in mind, or have a strategy. Oh no, I might go and sit. For me, I would probably make sure I avoided being too close to them physically in the room if it was at all possible. And if there was a crowd, I'd be in there mingling with the crowd and making myself look busy or something, or take it on board that you're going to hand the sweets around so you don't get stuck with them, or come up with some strategies.
One of the things that I
sorry, Janette Mharee, if you
I was
really
going to say that we interrupted you again. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you really work on, I don't like the word killing, but killing them with kindness as well. That's something that I used to do whenever they would be, make snide remarks. It would be like, gosh, you're, and I would only speak of truth, but gosh, your skirt is so lovely. Did you get it locally?
Yes.
Oh. And then, when they would make another snide remark, I'm just going to make a cup of tea. Would anyone like one? Would you like a cup of tea? So that you're not reacting. You are just basically putting up a boundary. You are showing them that you're ignoring their bullshit behavior. You're not going to engage in that. And it infuriates them. So, and then they end up looking like the ass they are because you are killing them with kindness. So people cannot fault that. And you don't do it smartly. You do, like in a smart ass way, you just do it smartly. And that's something that even used to work for me when I was nursing, when I had patients who were very, very rude, and we used to get those a lot. So you kill them with kindness, and it works every time. I've never not had it work.
I love killing people with kindness. It's one of my favorite things to do. Also, I've also had, if you're in a difficult situation where maybe you're getting an unsolicited advice or maybe a little bit of a snide insult, I often like to just sort of question, like, oh, that's interesting. Why do you think that? Or why shouldn't I do that? Or why do you think I should parent this particular way? And usually you'll find that they're like, oh.
Yeah, pull my head
in.
Yeah,
because you're making them accountable for their action and they don't like it. And they usually do come up speechless because, like you've said it in such a nice way. Oh, wow, I never thought of it like that. So please do go on. How do you think I should parent my child? Yeah, and they really don't know what to say because you've got a smile on your face. What you're thinking inside your head is on you, but you've got a smile on your face and you're being kind and everybody's watching.
Asking a question is always a good strategy because it throws them into another line of thinking, or it throws them onto another path, and also gets their cogs, all your neurons working.
And when you like question in like an accepting way as well, like a lot of the time people will be ready to be on the defense, and ready to be a bit like, oh, but when they're sort of accepted and they'll have to sort of shift their energy to match you because you haven't matched theirs, it really does bring the dynamic to a more peaceful level.
Yep, 100% agree.
You get more bees with honey than what's the other?
Vinegar, yep.
Oh, is it vinegar?
Yeah, I believe so.
What I was going to say before is that when you're challenged, because, it's all very well to have that strategy, and I think they're both great strategies, but if you're feeling triggered, it's a little harder to respond in that detached way. So one of the things that I do is I often say, well, how do I feel? And so just quietly recognize, just identify how you feel. And if you're feeling angry or feeling hurt or you're feeling that, just this simple acknowledgement and say, you know what, I have every right to feel hurt.
Absolutely.
And that diffuses it inside of you.
Yes. It's like when little kids come up to me when I'm teaching and I'm out on yard duty and someone's fallen over, or a couple of boys are having fisticuffs. And the first thing I do is acknowledge, oh my gosh, you're actually really angry. And they'll go, yes. And, ooh. And then but, and then I'll repeat it. Oh, I can really tell that you're angry, and make it sound very genuine. And they're feeling validated. So that just brings their energy down. Oh, that's my kids are all my children in the background are organising our
Joys of Christmas.
Day.
Jingle bells.
That comes full circle, Kay. That comes full circle to what we were talking about when we first came on, is to always make sure you validate your feelings, your own feelings, whatever that is. If that's grief, if that's anger, if that's, not wanting to be in the moment, we have to stop shoving our feelings down. We have to own them. And that's exactly what Janette Mharee was saying. It's okay to have the feels, but recognize that. Recognize, am I being triggered? Why am I being triggered? What's happening here? It's all part of the process. And the worst thing is, especially around Christmas time and big events, people who are grieving tend to shove their grief down so that they don't upset other people. And we need to stop doing that, because we are allowed to be in grief. We are allowed to miss our loved ones. We are allowed to feel sad because we can no longer share that whatever with that person. Because It's all good and well, even in the work I do, to say, well, your loved ones are always around you, and they really are. But you can't hug them, you can't feel them, you can't see them. So you can tell people all you want that they're always there, but that means jack shit when you are in a grief bubble.
I think that what is always helpful for someone who is in grief, they will either talk their head off at you, or they'll actually put this thing around them, and they'll sit, in this isolated position, and literally the whole space around them is just stay away. The best thing to do is to actually, sit down and have a chat with them and just say, look, I can see you're sad. Would you like a hug? And just give them an absolute gentle, loving hug. Nothing, but a long hug, like a nice, gentle, really caring hug. And they may have a tear or two and just say, look, it's okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love that, because you're acknowledging them. You're acknowledging and that you're so right, because then they're able to move on from that and keep going. Rather than pretending it doesn't happen.
That grief in, and that kind of makes you feel it kind of hurts. And when someone hugs you, because why you're grieving is because you're feeling unloved. So when someone gives you that hug, that real, not this puss's bum hug as I call them, but a real genuine, heart to heart love with genuineness, it just takes it down a huge notch. Huge notch.
It lowers your heart rate as well. So I like to do the creepy hug, I call it, and I like to hold people for a good 30 seconds. And no, not yet. I'm not done with you yet. And actually wait till I feel like not only my heartbeat, but their heart rate drop as well. And it can be very soothing and a little bit weird, but that's me.
I love that tip.
Yeah. In the US, and we had to hug everybody, and I got this guy and he had his arms down like this, and I just leaned in and I said, I'm not going to let go till you let go. And I said, just breathe with me, come on, let's breathe. And as we breathed, and by the end of the conference he was wearing a little heart on his thing, and they said they had never felt so much heart energy in the entire conference ever. And I knew it started with that one action of just saying to this guy, just breathe with me.
We all need to send Zita a virtual hug because she
Yes.
needs a hug. And
Yes.
Claire has said she doesn't like hugs at all, and I totally get that because my children and grandchildren are non-huggers. I am a major hugger, so I don't get to hug, and I respect their boundaries. They don't like it, so I'm going to send out
Why
so
don't people like hugs?
much of a hug to Zita.
But why don't they like hugs?
They just don't. They're just not touchy-feely people.
Well, they might, but or it may. Obviously, it's not sensory. What is it? It's their senses aren't enjoying the hugs.
Yeah, they don't like the sensation of that. Yeah,
Too much stimulation for them, and so you've got to respect that.
absolutely.
And, yes.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's just
Yes.
It's foreign to us. What?
Claire might,
It's not allowed. No, it's allowed. I'm sorry.
Claire saying she doesn't like hugs at all, and I can relate to that with some people who might want to come and hug me.
Well, I hugged you, Kay, so too
I know
bad.
you're good, and yes, I can vouch for Nanny's hugs. They're fantastic, but not always do I want to.
school.
Hey,
We should start a hug school.
a hug school,
Hug
a school
school.
of hugs.
Hug school.
Yeah, a virtual hug. Well, sometimes I feel like starting something where those of us who are feeling vulnerable could have this. I love the idea of a well, something, or a pot where we can kind of put some good thoughts and feelings in. So you never know.
I was actually just saying to a few friends of mine recently that like the touch alone is like such a huge thing, and I use it a lot when with like my anxiety and PTSD. Sometimes it's literally just the touch your body is craving, and you can warm your hands up, and you can give yourself a little bit of that nurturing, and just take that time to actually give yourself a cuddle and touch yourself the way that you would like to be loved, like on the face, on the neck, wherever it like resonates for you. And that alone is a very powerful tool.
What's a good oil for that, girls?
I would be, I'd be feeling joy, rose oil. If you like Claire and she doesn't want to take on the energy of others, I would be looking at white angelica.
Yeah, I also like to use present time as well, because it sort of just gives you like reminds you to just stop, smell the roses, and like be in the moment.
Absolutely. So here's another thing. If I'm worried about taking on the energy of other people, or if I'm concerned about my ability to be present or to be whole or to be focused wherever I am, I'll put myself in a bubble and bring whatever colours you feel you need in, and you can always put some beautiful gold around your aura to give yourself that bubble of protection.
If you're struggling with that too, actually, we use this technique at home. So when I first started doing this years and years ago, I actually bought myself a necklace, like a particular necklace, and I would envision it like activating my powers as I put it on. So it would help me put on, my energy out. And for my daughter, who's quite empathetic and a bit of an empath, she has an invisible cape. And, I would go, okay, I've got your cape ready. Are you ready to put on your cape? All right. And then, we'd put it on and clip it around her neck. And can you feel that? It's protecting you. And, you can use these sorts of things as well. Like, so if you're having trouble really embodying that energy, you could just give it an extra step that's going to help your mind is indifferent. So whatever you tell it is happening, it's happening.
One of the biggest things people forget is grounding yourself. That will release you from all energies around you. It will clear you, because that's what you do. You're grounding yourself back to basics. And that's something everyone should be doing every day before they do any form of ritual, is grounding. That's the most sacred thing I can suggest, because it's so powerful. And I love that you do that with your children, Tiff, because so many parents don't sort of understand what's going on with their children. They think they're just playing up, or, you know, being like, I watch children in shopping centres, and in Queensland, shopping centres are huge. It's not like Tasmania where you've got your nice little shops, and children become so overwhelmed, and, you know, you see the side looks and the snide comments and things, and children are just overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed when I go to those big places, and I'm a big kid, and I always walk past and I say to the mum, because it's usually the mum, and I say, you are doing a fantastic job. And that you can see them tear up, because we don't empower each other anymore. We pull each other down. And, you know, who hasn't had a child screaming at some stage, whether it's in a car seat or you're driving or in a shopping centre, and it's overwhelmed. It really is.
Tiff can relate to that.
Oh, don't even. My son doesn't like to leave the house at the moment, but his new thing is he doesn't want to go home now either. So because we're Ubering a little bit at the moment, it's been I've had to give them a little bit of a tip. He's going to scream half the way. I'm so sorry.
I remember when my kids used to scream in the supermarket. I'd just start screaming just a little bit louder.
We tell a bit of a joke. Me and my mum, we tell a bit of a joke. You're being so loud. Wait till I tell your mum how loud you've been playing up. And they just look at you like, wait, you're my mum. But everybody else stops looking at you, so it's great.
Yeah, I'm just babysitting them today.
I love it.
That's a good idea.
Now I'm going to pull
pass the buck.
I'm going to pull an I am card, which these are a set of cards that Janette Mharee has made. Ooh. So I'm going to pull one for the collective. Yeah, so that's it. If he's good at doing the check out these. And let's see.
I already pulled the card for us today.
Okay. All right, go on, you can start. Okay.
For the collective today, our card, which is very apt for coming up to Christmas, is the Peace and Contentment card. And that's finding your inner peace, finding what works for you, finding everything that we've just discussed, grounding yourself, owning your emotion, tuning into whatever you are feeling, whether that's anger, grief, sadness, happiness, bliss. Some people love Christmas, some people really don't. Fear's a big one. Fear used to be my thing at Christmas when I was in my domestic violence, because I knew my husband would drink, and he was so violent when he drank. So Christmas wasn't a happy time. So I had to make a safe place for me and my children. So whatever's going on in your life, find your peace, find your truth, and sit in that. And that way you can come back to that safety net when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Okay, beautiful. And Janette Mharee's card that I pulled, you know, this is the first time I've pulled this card. I am inner stillness, ease, and grace. So that just confirms everything we're talking about, and that is really what we've all got to do that inner transformation, so that we can find that inner stillness within, because that is the most powerful place any of us can actually come from.
That would be a great one, because the I am is the most powerful resonance in the cosmos. So just uttering that is really powerful. If you are triggered, then just go off to the toot and just say, I am inner stillness, I am grace, I am ease. And you'll immediately feel your whole energy shift.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
I pulled the Express Your Individuality, and I love this card because not only is she standing in her power, she as the other cards have said, she's peaceful, and it's about finding your own path and being okay with not going with the trodden path and being just your own beautiful self and finding that inner peace. So that's lovely.
I love it. I love that. I love our whole conversation tonight.
Around, hasn't it? Really, just the same theme. It's brilliant.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, if you want to put an oil with that, you would use peace and calm. Do you think, Tiffie, would be the oil that if you wanted to have that inner peaceful feeling?
I do love peace and calming. Yeah, I'm preferring stress away at the moment though.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
That would actually be a really great idea, is that if you know you're going to Christmas, that it's going to be a bit on the stressful side, get your little oil kit and take it with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for your positive comments there, Sarah. And Jess, we can grow from those we don't like. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes, yes, sometimes.
But that's what being spiritual is all about to me. It's learning how not to be triggered. And yes, okay, we are all triggered at times, but then it's, well, what are we doing with that? Do we want to stay in this trigger, or do we want
Moments
to?
of darkness are amazing because you get an opportunity to be the light.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also setting your boundaries and not taking shit from people, people that, will just attack for no reason, and then turn around and expect that tomorrow they can be your friend again. Setting very strong boundaries and saying, no, you don't get to do that again. No, you never get to do that again. And when you set boundaries, you set the precedents for yourself and your family. It's showing people what you will and won't accept. And those that you put boundaries up against will come out fighting. And they're not coming out fighting because you've put up a boundary. They've come out fighting because you no longer allow them to do what they do. And that's
because they're using your energy.
Back to what you were saying, Tiff and Janette and Kay, it's finding your own peace. It's finding your own truth and owning that.
And I like this, Jess is saying, even if it's to find our inner strength of walking away with head high. And I agree with that. You don't want to walk away and feel wounded. You've got to walk away and feel, hey, I've actually dealt with this. And no matter how you've dealt with it, just knowing you've done what the best you could. And this is what turning things around is, patting ourselves on the back, because often we don't have those supporters around us. We've got to be our own support team.
I don't tolerate your bullshit. Sorry, goodbye.
Yeah, absolutely. It took me a long time to come to that, Janette. People used to walk all over me. Now, one strike, you're out, and you're out for good. There's no second strike anymore with me, and that goes for everybody, including family. Because if you don't set your boundaries, then you just keep walking the same walk all the time.
But it's also that when an abuser or an aggressive person is actually using your energy, and that's how they fuel themselves. So when you actually say no to the BS, that you're not going to tolerate it, they do not have access to your energy. And disempowers them.
Yes. And that's that's what we learn along the way, isn't it? So we are, and thanks for your beautiful comments. We've got some lovely comments coming through, some appreciation from some new people here, from Janette Mharee Chalmers. So, and also from Lee Monique Aquilina. It's so empowering, and that is so empowering. Love this first time here. So thank you very much. Look, I'm just beside myself. It's just fantastic to have Nettie here with us tonight, and Tiffie dropping in and out. I don't know what's happened to Tiffie, but it's all good. She's obviously, something's happened, or maybe her internet's dropped out. But we have had a great conversation, and we're here to empower you and to help you realise that, if things aren't working in your life, you're going to need to do something to take control of it and make the change. So now Nettie is offering 2-card half-hour reading. I twisted her arm. So is that correct? Do you want to give people details, Nettie?
Yeah, well, it's 2-card readings. So Christmas special, $50. Anyone who needs to know what's going on in their life. I don't do full readings anymore, and I'm very selective on who I do readings for. So people can private message me on my page, Daily Chats with Janette, and then I'll decide whether or not we go forward with that.
So I will daily chats. Oh, what's happened? I tried to.
You've grown.
I've accidentally dropped onto that or something. That's better. Daily chats with. Now, how do I spell your name? I always have to.
Janette.
Yes.
My hair's always dry now.
Janette's page on Facebook. Our group on Facebook to work with oils is, I've just put the link up there. So if you have not joined us before, and if you aren't in our oil community yet, you can just go and find our group on Facebook called Kay's Essential Oil Wisdom. We would love you to come over. We have these juicy conversations from time to time. I love educating people about oils and encouraging you all to step up and step into your power by transforming your fear into courage. Be yourself, gals. Works every time. Thanks very much, Kay Bullen. And Janette Mharee, thanks for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
You started something, so you'll get next time I'm doing. So the other thing that I do is I'm on Mint Radio. I have a podcast where I have conversations. So come and find me on Facebook and follow me. You can actually see this week's conversation. I think this week's one I was just talking about essential oils for busy mums. I think that's the one, because I have to record it and then post it. But I also have conversations. So anyone who would like to come on my show with me, I'm going to open it up to anyone. I'm looking forward to Nettie coming on, and Janette Mharee, or even groups of conversations, because I think we do need this communication in our daily life, and to lift others up and support each other. And to anyone who's out there that does feel like Christmas is going to be lonely, just know that somewhere in the universe, someone is thinking of you somewhere, and see if you can catch some of that with tuning in to your beautiful peace and inner calm and stillness, and I'm sure you will get some beautiful messages coming through. So anything else you want to round off? Any Janette Mharee or Nettie?
Thanks everyone. It was a pleasure.
Beautiful. Thanks, Nettie.
The No BS Spirituality Show.
Yeah, that's right. This is where real things are spoken.
Yep.
The truth prevails.
I might get dressed next time.
Oh, don't bother. We didn't mind.
I thought I was just going to tune in on the phone, and I thought, oh, look, I'll do the PC. I didn't realise that I was going to come on, but yeah, that's okay.
Well, there you go. So you've.
I think we should all have a pajama party. I think all of us should be in pajamas, and all of our guests should be as well, with a cup of tea or a coffee or whatever your choice is, and all just chill. And because what you do get here is authenticity, and let's. We don't have to be dressed up, or we don't have to do anything. We just have to show up.
Yes, sounds good.
I've had these T-shirts about 20 years.
Hey, you what?
I've had these T-shirts about 20 years. I just absolutely love T-shirts that are almost threadbare because they're really soft and lovely, comfortable to go to bed with. You just can't buy them anymore. So I use most of them. I use as painting shirts. So
yes. So thanks to all you beautiful people who've hung in with us. And we didn't do any readings tonight because we just wanted to have a really good talk and leave you all with some really uplifting feelings. So let's hope that
it makes the energy high, Kay. That's the thing, is when everyone's interacting, it actually lifts the vibration, and that goes out and people actually pick up on that.
And so just before we go, let's imagine the ripple effect of what we've all been talking tonight does go out, beyond where we are and all the way. I just love to wrap it all around the universe and just lift the vibration for each and every one of us. So from my heart to yours, and thank you so much, Nettie. Thanks, Janette Mharee, for being spontaneous. I look forward to more of this interaction. Bye.
All right, see you. Bye-bye.